Hey everybody, what's up? NikoTheLegend here to do our very first late night NIKO show episode. Well, it's not too late of night, it's about 10:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello, what man are teenagers? Snowflake. You know, this was actually not planned, despite me having the last 2 days off. I was not planning on doing a NIKO show episode. I was actually about to stream some more Dark Souls Remastered. So let me just turn myself off there. That was kind of weird. But yeah, this is gonna. My cat's doing some weird stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I wanted to do a late night show. I guess the expect the unexpected. I haven't done a late show like this before, but I'm sure it's gonna go just fine. Because we have a lot more fun stuff to talk about. Let me actually rearrange the order of the way we're gonna be doing this. A lot has happened, as you can tell, in the gaming verse, and then E3 is coming up, which is also exciting. So, yay, give it up for people that are going to be at E3 this year. You know, I was going to go last year, but then I realized that, because they're like, oh, it's not just open for people who want to, that are YouTubers or popular in the gaming verse or whatever, YouTube sensations or celebrities, I don't even know. But now, it's finally back open to all the public. At least last year, I don't know how it is this year, probably the same thing, but yeah, not going to be going again this year because I don't have the money and I'm still trying to be a personal trainer and I'm almost done with that. Where is he? Hold on a second. Okay, yeah, he likes to be himself. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing all well today. It is still being a rainy butt this past week in Florida. And it's going to be another rainy week this Florida as well. And I'm still taking good care of my teeth, you know, ever since I went to that dentist appointment. And, you know, I just thought it'd be a good idea to do that, you know. Just, you know, I care about the people that work there, and I don't want to give them a hard time with my disgusting teeth. So why the hell not, you know? I might as well make this just something special. You know, be good about your teeth. Treat it carefully. So, you know, you floss. What are you doing? This freaking cat. Okay, 1 second. Oh gosh, I gotta warn thy neighbors about this. Okay, sorry. Okay, just let my neighbors know, or my roommates know that that I let the cat out for a little bit, just until I get the stream. He's in the playful mood, and then he just starts being a cat. I just can't do it, damn it. Son of a gun. Why do animals have to act like animals? Okay, chair. It's freaking Spanish tile flooring, so the chair is like at the perfect angle where it's like about to transition to another tile, and it's like that like, you know, the space in between each tile, it's like rolls off of it or whatever, or the angle. Anyway, yes, E3 is coming up, and I'm very excited about it because there's gonna be a lot of good stuff about Nintendo. I don't care about Xbox, but Xbox might show Halo 6, so maybe I do care. And then PlayStation's gonna show its big top 4 stuff, which is gonna be really exciting. And then you got, yeah, that's about it. And yeah, there's going to be a ton of games. Obviously, you can always look at the list on what games are going to be announced, which, like I said, there's going to be a lot. Listen, the only game that comes to my mind that I really, truly want, that I care about, is the next Pokemon installment for the Switch, and just for Pokemon franchise in general. I'm ready. My body is ready. If this is the right, if they go with the right approach with this, and it's the Pokemon game of everybody's long-awaited Pokemon dream. I don't even know if you have to be a Pokemon fan to want this game. But it's going to be freaking awesome. So hopefully they do it right. It's going to be, if it's played on the Switch, I mean, Pokemon with 3D environments and all that, like actual like third-person perspective or whatever you want to call it. And it's going to be portable on the Switch. It's about time you get a Switch, folks. So get the Switch. And there's going to be probably a really cool Pokemon bundle with it too. But just got to do wait and see. So I can't wait for that to start. I hope I have those days off because I really like to watch everybody's conference and presentation. And this is going to be like, you know what's funny? This is going to be like the first conference presentation or first E3 year that I'm actually going to really care about PlayStation, because I never really was up to date with the PlayStation consoles or the times. with Sony. You know, I always had an Xbox or a Nintendo console, and that's what I mainly cared about. I never really cared about watching the conference for Sony for some reason. I don't know why. But this is going to be that year, considering that I have a PS4 and I've been streaming PS4 games quite a bit lately. Ni no Kuni, Persona 5, and Horizon Zero Dawn. And then recently, obviously been playing Dark Souls Remastered and streaming, and then playing it off screen. It's been tons of fun getting my ass kicked. You know, playing casual blind. Like, I don't know how you can play that game casually, but you know, I try to do my best to play it to where I can enjoy it. The challenge is always there, which is great. But anyway, yeah, there's going to be a lot of fun stuff at E3. Hope you guys are excited about that too. If not, well, you come to the wrong place at the wrong time. But you can always enjoy my red color scheme. I just realized that I have this red tank top and a red Mario hat, which sometimes people mistake it for a MAGA hat, which is just awesome. It's really funny. But anyway, yeah, about me and what games I'm playing right now. I'm still playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and then I just started playing Dark Souls Remastered. Now, Detroit Become Human just came out about a couple days ago, which will probably it'll be a game that I get down the road. It's another game by Quantic Dream, who made Beyond Two Souls, which is, I guess, I don't know. It's 50-50 on if you like it or not. I don't know. You get it for free right now, monthly. I don't think it's sold well. Came out back in 2014. And then there's obviously Heavy Rain, which is great. If you get Detroit Become Human, you get Heavy Rain. It comes with it. Because they're like, you know, Beyond Two Souls. No. I don't know what I don't know. I have to play it to find out. It'd be definitely a fun game to stream and talk about and play or whatever, whenever I get the chance. But yeah, so still playing God of War 2. God of War is it's a game that's a good length and it's long enough, and I can enjoy it. I don't have to rush it or anything. I don't plan on doing that. Because, you know, it's really hard to just sit there and play one game like all day, you know. Like I have to be getting close to my 30s, you know, about 2 years away, actually only like a year and a half away from being 30 years old, you know. A lot's changed. Like, you know, I don't want to just sit there and play games all day. It's like, now I want to use that time I spent in gaming and actually use it for something to benefit me, like talking about it, having a YouTube channel on it, writing stories and stuff, inspired by video games, like my book, or then short story, you know, that type of stuff where I can apply it to something else. It's crazy, you know, you turn that passion into something even greater that actually can be useful. And I think that's the main thing that you want to do with this stuff. Obviously, if it's a brand new game, I could probably play it for hours, but it just depends, you know. I hate it when you get to that certain point when you play games for so long. Like, I know you should take a break and, you know, get out of that funk and stretch and do whatever, you know, the normal thing you should do. Go to the bathroom, drink some water, you know how it goes. But it's that one threshold that you get to or pass or whatever, and you just feel like your soul has left you a little bit, or the TV has like indoctrinated you. It's so crazy, and it really changes your mindset. It's like it's because like your brain's starting to get burnt out from all of it, you know. But you know, it happens, and I think it depends on what game, right? And what it really does. I don't know, but yeah, I have played games not too recently, but recently enough to where it has been like a lot of hours in one session. Like, you've seen me stream Persona 5 for like a 4-hour session, or Pokemon, or when Monster Hunter came out, I played it all day with my friend David Dial for like a whole week. So, you know, it just depends. It depends, but it's definitely not as it doesn't occur as much as it used to. Like, man, if you think I look like a snowflake now, imagine how I looked like back in like 10th grade, like a good. How old was I in 10th grade? Maybe like 16 or something. So 12 years ago. I mean, this is just the lighting of where I'm at right now because I got a white screen on me and I'm naturally white. But yeah, it was real bad. It was real bad back in the day. God, that AC likes to make like thundering noises. It's really annoying. It's just doing its thing, I guess, suffocating itself. But anyway, let's get into the topics we have to talk about today. We're going to be talking about Atari, God of War, bad video games, Super Mario Brothers, essential soundtracks for video games, and then top 10 game endings that sucked, or video games that had butchered endings, or whatever you want to call it. And then yeah, it's going to be kind of there's going to be some deep moments. So I do apologize if you guys aren't here for any grievance or condolences. But I will let you know ahead of time that it has to do with Total Biscuit and its passing, and it's related to something else about another person who passed away from cancer. I don't know if it's the same cancer, but still sad nonetheless. And if you want to hear what I have to say about the whole Total Biscuit thing, or at least an interpretation of something that is happening about people bad-mouthing them, I have posted a video on the YouTube channel, so you can also check it out. It's, it's close to 20 minutes long. I know. I don't think there's going to be any length that's going to be just, give the proper farewell or anything to, to get the most respect. But I just wanted to do it anyway because, it's also Bioware related too. So that's also a plus, but that's not the definite reason why I did it. Yeah, it's just, it's when someone dishonors a man, and then someone has to step in to make sure that stops and don't listen to that person. And it's just, you just gotta watch the video, Anyway, so let's get to our first article. More IGN, just a couple today, like we always do. I know it's super exciting, but this is what we were just talking about Total Biscuit. Atari co-founder Ted Dabney dies at 81 years old. Now, obviously not the same age as Total Biscuit, because Total Biscuit passed away from cancer at 33, and this man definitely lived a full-fledged life. He's accomplished many things. A close friend confirmed his passing. Ted Dabney, the co-founder of Atari and one of the first figures of the video game industry, has died at the age of 81. Video game historian and close friend Leonard Herman announced through Facebook that Dabney had passed, stating, "Your legacy will live on a long time." Eurogamer reported that late last year, Dabney was diagnosed with esophageal cancer and chose not to seek medical treatment. Probably because he's 80 years old at the time, so he probably accepted his fate. In 1971, Dabney and Nolan Bushnell worked together to create the engineering firm Cisne, where they developed and launched the first commercially available video arcade game, Computer Space. The firm would later continue on as Atari, where it made great success with the launch of Pong, establishing the company as a major foundation of the industry. It's really nice. After management disagreements with Bushnell, Dabney left Atari in 1973. While his presence in the video game scene lessened, Dabney did appear in several interviews since his departure, namely an episode of the Retro Gaming Roundup podcast. Okay, who cares? Some of the Dabney's video circuit components used in the creation of Computer Space were later reused to create Pong, solidifying his importance to the industry. So, let's get one good look at the man, because he deserves it. There he is. Which one's him? Oh, yes. So he's on the left. That man right here, with the handlebar mustache and half set of hair. That hair that he didn't have was all the heart and passion. It was traded in for all the heart and passion he put into video game engineering and all that. But that's what I was saying. Like, Total Biscuit also has recently died from cancer as well. So it's obviously cancer sucks and it's terrible, and I wish we had found a cure for it already, and of all types of cancer, or at least close to it. But yeah, this is definitely a person who established the legacy of video games itself and getting it on, getting the show on the road, spinning the wheels, getting things going. So, it's crazy that this has been developed a long time ago, more like 50 years ago, or close to 50 years, whatever you want to call it. We forget these people that actually create these things that are so impactful in our life. Like, I don't even know who created the iPod. Was it Steve Jobs? Did he do it? Was he the original creator for it? Or, the guy who invented the stapler? Like, we take that stuff for granted, really, and then we realize how that they, stuff like this, they recently passed, and it's just like, oh, that's really sad, Now, if it was like a celebrity like Tom Cruise or someone who's historically hated, like Michael Bay or something, they'd be like, oh, everyone should be sad, right? Everyone should just be so sad, right? Well, you should be sad. But it's the fact that they just advertise it like crazy. So you'll never know about this stuff unless it's actually advertised, or you look at the obituary, or just find it somewhere. Someone makes a personal message on like a personal video or something like that. But usually the media loves picking up celebrity deaths or celebrity drama. I mean, you see the magazines all over the fucking grocery store. It's ridiculous. So you'll never see a magazine cover with the Atari co-founder Ted Dabney. You just won't. You know, this is around the time when the computers were, you know, still adapting, still about as big as a garage. You know, you've seen the NASA computers back in the day. They literally took up a whole room, a big room, like one computer or whatever. It was crazy. And obviously, like, the first computer can only do like simple calculations anyway, and there's this like teeny tiny computer or whatever. It was like made in a garage or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that's how it went, and then obviously it just expanded from there. But it's great, you know. Thanks to that, we were able to get games like Pong, and you know, all the programming that went into it, like, and then the engineering behind it. It's just great. It's just great. So because of this beginning steps of creating the wheel, we nowadays have flying cars, or virtual flying cars, depending on how you look at it. Am I right? So, Ted Dabney, hope to never forget your legacy. Appreciate what you did, and condolences to your friends and family, of course. And that goes the same thing in Total Biscuit, obviously. But like I said, you can just check out the video, and it'll be all there. Okay, next article. So, okay, click. Speaking of God of War sells top 5 million in the first month. That's a lot of dysfunctional daddy-son duos. So, Sony boss John Codera has revealed that God of War sold over 5 million copies in its first month. The news comes from Sony's Investor Relations Day 2018, in which Codera announced the number of copies sold exceeded 5 million in the month following God of War's launch. God of War has performed very well for Sony, selling 3.1 million copies worldwide in its first 3 days, becoming the fastest-selling PS4 exclusives for the company. And that's really impressive. The title was also the best-selling game for April 2018, alongside the PS4, which was the best-selling console for the month, with sales at an all-time April high for any console since NPD began tracking game software in '95. Okay, just remember that. God of War director Cory Balrog has more games planned for the franchise, but if you have to dive in, you can check out our... Okay, anyway. So, yeah, God of War is... If there's any game that comes to closest, like, to the term masterpiece in the dictionary, it'd definitely be this game. It is a phenomenal experience, at least so far for me. And you can just look at Metacritic. So many people, so many critics gave it a 10 out of 10. So many gamers gave it a 10 out of 10. You're rarely gonna find anything below. Of the critics, you're not gonna find any score below it, like a 7 or anything. There's just no way. Unless someone's got a real stick up the ass. But, you know, like I said, no games are perfect, but this game is so close to that, about 0.1%. Now, what are some things that, you know, has little issues with? There's a little tiny bit frame rate. It's not an immersion breaking. And then there's obviously some balancing with the certain bosses in the game. Spoilers. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a side quest that amounts to a lot of bosses you have to fight. But there are attack patterns and how you can't react to it fast enough. It's just, I don't think it was well designed, but, you know, just my opinion. You know, just my opinion. But God of War itself, I've never been sucked in a game's story like so much to where it's going to be one of those games where you're going to be really sad that you're going to finish it. And I mean, there are plenty of games with great stories, but some of them are way too long. Now, if you're BioWare and you know how to make games short and sweet, not short, but, you know, sweet enough, perfect length, like Knights of the Republic, which is like 20 to 25 hours. Same thing with Mass Effect, all of them are 20 to 25 hours. But they seem like you spend a lifetime in them. Like, it's just so weird how games do that. And, like, when you play games like The Witcher, it feels like it's too long. Like Witcher 3 or Dragon Age Inquisition or Mass Effect and like Skyrim even. It's like sometimes there's a point to where you're just doing too many side quests and then you're not even focusing on the main goal. And I don't really like that in games, you know? Out of RPGs, I really do like linear RPGs so much better than open world RPGs. There's only 2 games that really made me fall in love with open world RPGs, and that's obviously Skyrim. Despite all of its laziness and bugs and stuff that Bethesda is known for, I still had a hell of a time playing that game forever. And I still enjoy it to this day. Now with mods And mods, oh my god, mods is heaven in that game. It's just delightful. But now another game which does open world properly is Breath of the Wild. If you have not played Breath of the Wild, I do suggest you play Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Wii U or the Switch. It is one of those must-have games, and one of those must-have games to experience in your lifetime. It's definitely gonna be on anybody's gamer list for, you know, top 10 games to play before you die or something. It would so be on there. I would say that it would be on there over Ocarina of Time, because as much as I loved playing Ocarina of Time growing up and the fun I had with it, it was a great, solid game. I just think Breath of the Wild just had such a much more magical experience. It's just like being in space, and you're not gonna like, anything can happen. Like, anything in space can happen, right? You just have no idea. There's so many anomalies. There's so many occurrences. So many good things, bad things. So many unknown, unforeseen forces that can arise. But in this game, Breath of the Wild, it does the same thing. You just have no idea. Like, anything can happen in that game. You just don't even expect it. It's crazy. It's insane how many times you can be surprised and just not expect it. I don't know. It was just such a brilliant time to have. But anyway, I do like linear adventures as well. The God of War is such a perfect example of me liking linear. It's got some RPG mechanics, you know. I mean, there's some leveling up and stat increases and all that, and obviously there's gonna be builds and meta and all that. But I was always like linear RPGs the most. Like, BioWare is great when they do that with Mass Effect, Knights of the Republic, and Dragon Age 1 and 2. Yeah, it's great. It's great. But, you know, God of War knows what it's doing. This is why it's selling a ton of copies. And, you know what's crazy? Is that it sold 3.1. This is just a little funny side note. 3.1 million copies in the first 3 days worldwide. You know how much Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to sell in the first 24 hours? It's going to sell 10 times this amount. Because, well, it's on 2 consoles for one. And 2, it's been one of the most long-awaited sequels, and it didn't take 10 years for it to fucking come out, or over 10 years. Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy VII Remake, god damn, or Duke Nukem Forever, good lord, or Half-Life 3. Who cares about those anymore? Like, who cares about those sequels that are over past their sequel deadline? Now, unless you're a good director for a movie, you know, Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. That's how you do a proper sequel, of not doing a sequel for that franchise for over 30 years. You know? But you get lucky. Sometimes you get lucky, but you really do. You really do. Luck has to be on your side. You gotta not bullshit this crap. Bullshit this crap. Yeah, perfect sentence. But anyway, I can't wait to play. I can't wait to beat this game. It's gonna be great. I hope it has a new game plus, because I would really love to stream it and play it on the hardest mode and keep upgrading my Kratos and hearing boy. But it's a perfect length for this type of game. It's really impressive. Really impressive. But anyway, next topic. Okay, here we go. All right, this one's called, Can a Video Game Be So Bad It's Actually Good? Second, I got a notification that Jeremy is streaming. So, the hilariously overwrought Beyond Two Souls, which is free on PlayStation 4 this month, is an interesting test case. Okay, so here we go. I hope you're ready. Okay, how long is this article? Okay, it's not too long. It's not too long. We'll be okay. We got plenty of time. All right. So, if you told me Ellen Page and William Dafoe had started a movie called Beyond Two Souls about a runaway CIA agent with an invisible monster buddy named Aiden, this is what I do. Buy a bunch of beer, call a bunch of friends, and invite them over for a bad movie night. But Beyond Two Souls isn't a movie, it's a video game. And if you have a PlayStation, okay, you can get it for blah, 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 yeah. Using some legitimately impressive motion capture technology, Beyond Two Souls invites players to control Jodie Holmes, which is Ellen Page, whose invisible monster buddy ruins birthday parties and first dates by throwing fits and smashing stuff, until she finally gets recruited to join the CIA and serve as America's least informed deep cover assassin. Okay, there's also a bunch of bullshit about an evil Navajo spirit in a parallel universe full of ghosts and a special drug that traps people in an actual mental prison, and, you know, I'm not even going to try to summarize it. Oh my god, I can't wait to play this game. Are you serious? Am I getting a feminist message? Issa Rae, don't be that guy. Okay, that's good. That's real good. That's real good. Anyway, it is Beyond Two Souls a good game? No, but is it bad in a weird singular way that it can't be compulsively playing until the credits roll? Yes, which made me wonder, can a video game so bad it's good? Be so bad it's good. There's a rich history of bad movies that people watch just so they can laugh at them, stretching all the way back to Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space. The best so bad it's movies, it's good movies that happen unintentionally, the product of a filmmaker's reach for far exceeding his grasp. It's how you get movies like Tommy Wiseau's The Room, which flails to make grand statements about love and betrayal, Jim Nguyen's Birdemic Shock of Terror, which struggles on a budget that appears to be nothing, to blend an environmental message with a thriller on par with Hitchcock's The Birds and Neil Breen's Fateful Findings, which is about psychic powers and the dangers of government corruption. I've seen it 3 times, and I'm still not totally clear. It's worth noting that each of those movies sprang from the very specific vision of a single writer-director. The best bad movies are also deeply personal passion projects, not the kind of routine movie by community garbage that limps out of Hollywood a few dozen times per year. As anyone who actually saw snakes on a plane can tell you, there's nothing more annoying than a bad movie that actually attempts to be bad. Beyond Two Souls has a similarly singular creator, writer, director David Cage, whose cinematic story-driven video games have a stubborn interest in awkward, blocky sex scenes and Dragon Ball Z-esque fight sequences, all presented with a straight face. The key in the end is sincerity, incredibly painfully misconceived sincerity, and Beyond Two Souls is also very sincere. The game is told over 24 chapters, and you have an easier time counting the chapters that don't end with Ellen Page collapsing into a heap of tears. Oh God. But its enjoyably bad movie has an additional edge on a bad video game: accessibility. Anyone can sit down and watch a movie, but games require active engagement. Legendarily bad video games like Superman 64 and Zelda: The Wind of Gamelon are probably best experienced secondhand, likely via legions of masochistic YouTubers, because the fundamental mechanics are so broken that it ends up being more annoying than funny to play them. There are a few exceptions like Big Rigs Over-the-Road Racing, which is so incompetently made that playing it begins to feel like a surreal meta-commentary on racing games. But if it's more fun to watch someone else play a bad video game than to sit down and play it yourself, you're essentially just enjoying a bad movie. So, the ideal so bad it's good video game is mechanically solid, but ridiculous in some other interesting way, and I can think of a few games that fit the bill. You can definitely write laughs out of something that's perfectly playable but fundamentally stupid, like Shadow the Hedgehog, which took Sega's painfully cornball attempt to make an edgy Sonic the Hedgehog and gave him a goddamn gun. Even closer to the mark is Deadly Premonition, a janky but fascinating Twin Peaks ripoff that casts the player as an FBI agent with a split personality and routinely asks you to complete mundane tasks like changing your clothes and shaving. But there's one last ingredient to a so bad it's good movie: the ability to share the experience with other people. But it's a midnight crowd of people throwing spoons, or maybe just a half a dozen drunk friends, and that's where Beyond Two Souls thrives. The game's emphasis on story over gameplay makes it accessible for pretty much anybody who can push a button or move an analog stick, and the game's non-linearity imposes a natural structure. Whenever a chapter ends, pass the controller around, and because the story changes based on what you do or you don't do, any mistakes just get woven into the story, and of course become fodder for shit-talking. I've written before about how certain single-player games like the story-driven horror game Until Dawn are actually better when you play them with a large group of friends, passing the controller around and arguing about every choice that pops up along the way. If you're into bad movies, you can at least try the same thing with Beyond Two Souls. You might not experience the game with the earnestness that was originally intended, but something tells me you'll have a good time anyway. This makes me just, you see, these are just things that make the resolve for my butt itches, for making the game, having you wanting to play the game even more. I think that's really funny. Yeah, like, you know, I have the game downloaded on PlayStation 4 store, and yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how it turns out. I actually like the premise of it so far. I like how it's got this imaginary invisible monster buddy who's causing all kinds of shit. I don't mind doing some silly stuff like that. So when video games, like, how do I say it? When maybe it's because sometimes these people know their video game is just out of this world, that it's just bizarre. I think it's just good when they can embrace it or just go with it and be like, yeah, it was a silly game, it was an experimentation, it's great. Because these are the same guys that just released Detroit Become Human. and then Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain is one of the most traumatizing games you could ever play. So maybe Beyond Two Souls, they were trying to go with something a little more paranormal, which is, you know, sometimes it's hit or miss because, you know, a lot of people don't give a shit about the paranoia, the paranormal stuff, paranormal activity and all that. But I just think it's great that there's just so much stuff to cover. And I'm also excited to see the voice acting of Ellen Page and William Dafoe. I think that's really great. It's kind of funny how Ellen Page looks exactly like the character in Beyond Two Souls. And there was even a lawsuit filed against Quantic Dream because of that. I don't think they really like that at all. I think they used Ellen Page for The Last of Us. For the girl. I can't remember. I might have read that somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure. But, you know, I'm sure Beyond Two Souls isn't that long of a game. It's just like Heavy Rain was exactly the same way. There's a lot of instances to require you to make decisions and do it right and choose on the spot thinking, like especially if you remember the options or the choices you had to make on how you want to cut your finger off to show how much you're willing to sacrifice for your child. Oh God. Don't ever use the nutcracker or the scissors. Oh God, just use a fucking knife. Jesus Christ. It's so bad on some of the stuff they have in there. Good. But anyway, yeah. Definitely a game I would like to play with people, or just it'd be really funny to stream to see how I do. But I do like paranormal stuff, so that's gonna be interesting. But anyway, yeah. What other games do you guys think are so bad it's actually good? Shadow the Hedgehog. I think Sonic Unleashed would be on there too. Just a lot of Sonic games. Maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe Castlevania 2, like Simon's Quest. You know, it's... I don't know. This is actually kind of hard to think of. So bad it's good. I don't know. You just have to think about it. Maybe Mary-Kate and Ashley Sweet 16 Mario Party game, like what Game Grumps did. Ha, that shit was hilarious. But anyway, so let's go to the next article. This one sounds fun. Super Mario Brothers, more than a video game. What is your first memory? If our memories came time-stamped, then that question could be easily answered. Unfortunately, when we revisit the memories in our head, they do not come with a date and time. Maybe that's a good thing. Fortnite is... Yes. I was actually thinking that. How are you doing, Pumpkin Man? Oh, Pumpkin Man. I bet you're getting ready for Halloween, aren't you, friend? Yes, Fortnite would definitely be on there. Because I'd say PUBG too, because PUBG, after over a year of it being out, it's still pretty janky and still pretty floaty, and still looks like crap, and it's not optimized yet, and it's just, and then they're like, okay, before it's even, you know, before even full release, let's put it on the Xbox, and it's just the most disgusting thing you'll ever play. But yeah, Fortnite is on there too. I don't know. I just... Sometimes it's fun to play with friends, right? But I just can't play those games by myself. I just don't like spending that much time in a game, like in a match like that, just waiting for someone to come around a mountain or something. It's bad enough that that Monster Hunter World takes up a lot of fucking time slaying monsters. But anyway, good to see you, friend. Hope you stick around. Yeah, exactly. All Battle Royales. That's so true. But Call of Duty is going Battle Royale. Oh, boy. And then Battlefield 5? Oh, my God, I can't wait. Just so happens that what I believe to be my first memory involves Super Mario Bros. It is a very short memory and not particularly significant. For some reasons, my brain believes that this memory is important enough that I remember it 28 years later. It begins by walking around the corner into a landing right above the family room, or as we called it, the back room. And my dad was sitting in the chair in front of the television playing Super Mario Bros. My older brother is standing behind my dad. Looking over his shoulder, my dad was at the first castle on World 1. I had no idea what this game was, but it was different than anything I've ever seen. That's it. That's the memory. Like most video games, as you continue to play, you learn the shortcuts and the hidden items. Oh, sorry. It's one of those burps that should come out, but it doesn't. I'm pretty sure my brother and I found every single secret in Super Mario Brothers, but while we knew all the secrets, we never actually ended up beating Super Mario Brothers. Every now and then I would get to World A2, and that level felt so daunting that I felt like it was impossible to beat the game. As more games came out, we moved on for Super Mario Brothers. Every now and then we would revisit the game, but the same thing always happened. Mario would die. Wah! Whoa! My brother and I had a relationship like most brothers. We would fight each other daily and even hourly, but one thing we always did together was play video games. I remember playing Contra, Mortal Kombat, and Ninja Turtles with him as we were growing up. Oh god, Ninja Turtles 1 is Oh, jeez, that game is ridiculously hard. This past Christmas, my brother gave me a game console that plays old video games as a gift. One of the games which he bought was that with that console was Super Mario Brothers. It's been a while since I have played Mario, but it was an explosion of nostalgia. The moment I started playing Mario, it's like I never stopped playing. The rhythm of the game came back naturally. I had no problems remembering the secrets of Super Mario Bros. As most reading this probably remember, there is a way to get to World A1 in only a few minutes. I got there and then I proceeded to die several times. Game over. Yep, I suck. No denying it. Okay. So, anyway, yes. My brother and I had relationships like most brothers. We would fight. Oh, wait, hold on. It's been a while since I played Mario. Okay, I had no problems. Remember that? Yep, I still suck. Okay. I continue to play it every now and then, but over the past few months, after my kids went to bed, I continued to lose. But it was still fun. Then one night, and then a week later, I beat World 8-3. I finally got the last castle with one life left, and that's when the heroes were made. This is when they're made. All the countless hours I put in Mario had come to this point. I finally got to the last castle, which with one life left is... Okay, I keep repeating myself. Sorry about that. In the words of Herb Brooks from the movie Miracle, great moments are born of greater opportunity. This is your time. Now go out there and take it. This was my time. Ha ha, yes. So, of course, I proceeded to jump into the very first pit of lava. Game over. A few days later, it was a battle to get the kids to sleep. Some nights are easier than others. After closing their door, I waited a few minutes to make sure the kids were finally down for the count. After I felt it was safe, I headed downstairs. Turned on Super Mario Bros., died several times, and game over. That didn't take very long. I'll try again. Dad, my 4-year-old son, had snuck out of his room. He made it to the basement without his mom hearing him. Yes, what are you doing? Playing Mario. Shouldn't you be in bed? What are you trying to do? Save the princess. Can I watch? Sometimes you have to pick your battles. If your sister's asleep, then sure. I started a new game. I do have to admit it was fun watching him react to Mario on the screen. He would jump when Mario would jump. He asked about the mushrooms, flowers, fireballs, and the bad guys. I knew his childhood excitement for this game will not last forever, so I enjoyed it. Then a little thing happened. I reached the last level in the game. I made it to the final castle. But this time I had 3 lives instead of 1. After I jumped over the first lava pit, I paused the game and told my son that this was the furthest I've ever made it. Really? Yep. I got to the very end. I knew that I could take a hit because I was still in Big Mario. And just run right through and jump on an axe, which would end the game. So I did it, and I watched Bowser fall into the lava, and Mario walked up to the princess. I won. I finally did it. I'm not ashamed to admit that I yelled I did it. My wife texted me from upstairs and said congrats, but I wasn't the only one who was excited. My son was jumping up and down with me. Dad, you saved the princess. Yep. And you're here with me when I did it. It only took about 28 years to beat Super Mario Bros., but it was worth the wait. Maybe in the future somebody may ask my son about his earliest memory, and now it is a possibility that my first memory and his first memory both involve us watching our dad play Mario. Ah, yes, great gaming memories. I do love it. You know, there are a lot of games that give us that great fun vibe, and there are a lot of games that take a long time to beat. My lord, like, I mean, I just beat Persona 5 about a week and a half ago, and that took 98 hours of game time. And I just made it on Watch Mojo for top 10 games that are, you know, they're good, but that you don't beat, that you can't finish because they're so long. So sometimes it's hard to stick to one game, especially like nowadays. You got the internet to spoil everything for you and ruin all the gaming curiosity for you if you're really looking to, you know, to specify what you want to buy. And then yeah, and there's always sales and everything, and there's always a game coming out every single fucking day, like multiple games coming out a day. Just go on Steam on new game releases. There's so many. Yeah, it just never wants to end. It just never wants to end. But it is really hard to think of your first game of what you played and it gave you the best memories, like had the best story. You know, I'm trying to think if there's one for me. I mean, there's a ton, but I don't know if it was as inspirational or not inspirational, but as like maybe not as victorious because maybe it didn't take me as long to do, and then it didn't involve like anyone else with me. It was just me. But for a game that did take me a while to beat, when I was playing as a kid on the first Nintendo, was Mega Man 3. That game did take me a long time to beat. I was not good enough to beat that game. It was I would get all the way to Shadow Man. He was the hardest Robot Master, had the hardest stage, and he was so difficult to beat. I just could never beat him. And then there was one time, or maybe one or twice that I would beat him around the same age, maybe like 4 or 5 years old, 5 or 6 or something. And obviously it wasn't over, and you face even harder stages and enemies. I just couldn't beat it. I couldn't beat it for the longest time. It was seriously one of the most difficult games I've ever played. And then there it was. 10 years later. Seriously, 10 years later, until I finally came back and played it. And by the way, I still have the original cartridge for Mega Man 3, and mine would definitely have to be Campaign in Modern Warfare 3. I never played Modern Warfare 3, and you know what? I might just have to just to smite, or play it in spite of how Black Ops Call of Duty doesn't have campaign anymore. But no, I don't have the Mega Man 3 cartridge. That's right, my older brother has it. But I still have the original Mega Man 3 cartridge in Nintendo. My older brother does. But I put it back in. I plugged the original Nintendo in whatever TV could make it work. And I played it, and I beat it. Oh, that's when CRT TVs were still out, if it was 10 years ago, or 10 years later, you know. So I was able to do it, and I beat it, and it was so fantastic. And I'm like, oh my God, I beat this game. I finally did it. Oh my God. And it's like, you know, it was like one of those, just like that meme with the baby that goes, the face or whatever. Yeah, it was definitely a fun accomplishment. And some games, like I said, some games take a long time, and they all have their own, you know, like special story behind them. It's crazy. It's crazy how that happens. It can be one of our favorite games. You know, we would have a blast playing it, but then all of a sudden, you just stop playing it for a while, and I think what it is just that we just get burnt out from it. Like we play it so much, and then we stop playing it for maybe a day, and then we just break from it, and then we don't want to play it again. It's like, I don't know if you guys have been in, at least for me, this is how it was for me. Like if you have a band, if you're making music or something, and this is a personal experience that I also had. It's like you go in the studio, you're ready to record a demo, and it takes all day to do. It's a ton of recording music in a studio is like one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life, because it's so ridiculously, like, how you have to be 100% on that stuff, on syncing all the instruments and playing them all at the same time. It's so hard to play in sync, believe it or not, like near perfect. But then after we did that, we had a demo with one song, and I didn't play drums for like almost a month. Like, you know, like I had to take a break. I was burnt out because there was so much focus, time and effort and energy that went into it. It's like you just didn't want to play anymore. So sometimes that happens with games that do that to us. If it's too hard, too difficult, we put it down, and then eventually we might want to play it again. It just depends on the mood that you're in. It literally is all circumstantial. It's crazy. And you never... these are things that you don't really plan. It's just like you just stop, and then it just all of a sudden just clicks in your head and you want to play it again later. Another example would be Dragon Quest VIII. That is one of the best role-playing games I've ever played, one of the best Japanese role-playing games, one of the best stories I've ever played, and it was just such a fantastic role-playing game. If you haven't played it, play it on PS2 or the 3DS. But anyway, that is a game that I fell in love with as soon as I was playing it at a friend's house that he rented it from Blockbuster, and we just couldn't stop playing it. It was just so much fun back in 2004. And then I bought it about maybe like 4 to 5 years later, or way later. I got the PS2 like when PS3 was out, like in its mid-cycle. And then I played it. I got almost near to the end, and then I couldn't beat the end boss, and then I just stopped playing it for literally another 5 years. And rolling around to like, or 6, 7 years, whatever, rolling around to 2015 or something, pop that bad boy in, I grind my life away, and then I beat the end boss, and then I'm like, holy shit, this took me over 10 years to beat. It's crazy. It's crazy. So some games really, really take you on the journey of accomplishment. It's pretty insane. But yeah, it's fun. Okay, next article. Okay, now these last two are little funsy articles, not really too much into the psychological things with video games like I usually do. Not really like game-breaking news or something like that, but they're still fun, and I still like doing them every once in a while. I even have 2 NIKO show episodes on the YouTube channel where that's all I do is top 100 best games or something like that, like 2 parts to it. I don't get too far in it though, because there's a lot to talk about. But anyway, 7 essential video game soundtracks. Okay, so this can go on forever. You can argue whatever you want, what your favorite is. Obviously, everybody has their own favorite soundtracks, and there's so many. Water is so good after talking for so long. So, long before video game consoles had the capacity to deliver a full range of sounds, the game music still played a major role in setting the mood and tone. Even with only a few basic tools to work with inside the NES, classic titles like Super Mario Bros., Legend of Zelda had themes that are still popular to this day. Can't stress that statement enough. Video game music has become an art form unto itself, and as part of the Sci-Fi Wire's Music Month, it's time to honor 7 of the very best gaming soundtracks. Unsurprisingly, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time received a high spot on our list of essential video game soundtracks, and yes, Ocarina of Time is pretty phenomenal. All of Zelda games have great music, but the Ocarina of Time actually integrated the music into the gameplay experience itself. Players needed to learn how to use the ocarina, and it served a purpose with the story. Oh, it did, and by golly, Miss Molly was great. Among arcade games, Street Fighter 2 had a famously catchy soundtrack that simply can't be ignored. It's true that Guile's theme does go with everything, but the rest of the stage's themes are also impressively composed. Somehow, the music is always well suited for both the characters and the stage they inhabit. Oh, here's another good one. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is a prime example of a soundtrack enhancing the already enticing gameplay. The original Metroid's atmospheric score also seemed to bring out the best aspects of the alien environments. But what's number 1? Okay, well, don't really have to watch number 1. Well, fucking A. Alright, no sound though. Damn it! No! No! Well, which is it? Oh, it's Mega Man. It's Mega Man. Mega Man 2 is number 1. Oh, yes. Pokemon. Yes. That is, okay, Mega Man 2 is number 1. Yes, Pokemon, literally, oh my gosh. Man, the Pokemon franchise has done so much for this planet. It's unbelievable how much it's changed kids' lives and made them just who they are today. Okay, so what's really great is that just like Mario and some video game shows use the game soundtrack. They're taken from the video games, or it's vice versa, the other way around. Like Mario TV show has a lot of Mario 2 music, of course, and Mario 1 music, and then the Legend of Zelda show has a lot of Zelda 1 and 2 music, or Zelda 1 music, and then you get shows like oh my god, I just had it. I just fucking had it in my head. Oh, Pokemon, duh. Pokemon. Every song in Pokemon is from the video game, or vice versa. I don't know what came first, chicken or the egg. And yeah, Pokemon was one of those games to where you almost remember like every theme song, every song from that game. And it also had one of the most inspirational TV show songs, which is I Want to Be the Very Best, the best that no one ever was. Anyway, Pokemon Master or whatever, that song, I Want to Be the Best. I Choose You. It's songs like that will go and live on forever. And there's so many times where you sing those certain songs with other people. Now, the Pokemon's theme song, is the best example because it has lyrics with it. So you can literally, you don't have to whistle or hum it, a lot of the other video game music. You literally can just sing the lyrics with your friends and they'll know everything. I even, at my graduation for high school back in 2008, in high school, one of the speakers, doing presentations for our class, did a Pokemon theme joke or something. He said the lyrics and it's just crazy. He said the lyrics and everything. It was funny. It was good fun. It was good laughs. It's so funny how you can just implement it into that. It's going with the message of what the lyrics were actually saying, but it's just stuff like that, man. And I don't know how many times I've chatted with people like on the internet or whatever, or just seen people singing the songs. I mean, it's one of those, especially the song and then the soundtrack. It's one of those things where you just want to listen to every now and then, or you can just enjoy it. It's just amazing, and that's why I just love video game music so much. For people that don't listen to video game music, it's really such a shame, because it's almost on the same level as like orchestrated music, or symphony type music, classical music. Because there's no lyrics, right? There's no lyrics involved on a lot of classical music or video game music. So they're never going to play it on the radio, really. Obviously, there's classical channels on the radio channels, but they're not. I don't think they're as popular, obviously, as like the P Diddy's and the Eminems and the Foo Fighters, because it's got lyrics. People like listening to lyrics. There's stuff to sing to, so I can understand that. But man, when you play games like Pokemon, when you play games like Halo or Zelda, or freaking, oh my god, Metroid or Castlevania, you just can't beat it, man. You just can't. These are music that will stick with us for the rest of our lives, and they don't get boring. They don't get obnoxious. We don't get tired of it. That's the insane part. We get tired of the same rap song, the same crap that plays on the radio. Now, obviously, there are bands that we can listen to their songs like over and over and over. Like, for example, I can listen to Blink-182 songs over and over and over. But video game music, just like classical music, I mean, I can listen to Vivaldi 4 Seasons so many times and never get tired of it. We can just listen to that music all day long. It's the same thing with video game music. I don't get tired of that stuff. I don't get tired of the Donkey Kongs. I don't get tired of the Super Metroids or the Chrono Triggers. I mean, good lord, Chrono Trigger. They're just they're just phenomenal, and they take so much work to do. It's crazy. I can't stress it enough, but you guys get the idea. Real passionate topic. But yeah, I never played God of War 2 or 3. I played the first one, but I am playing the God of War for PS4, and the soundtrack in there is pretty good. It's more like moody and tone-wise, but it's not like Halo's like beginning theme song or whatever. It's still really good though. It's the perfect type of soundtrack. So let's finish off with our last article. We'll go real quick through this. This one's going to be good. Is top 10 video games that butchered brilliant endings. Oh, Mass Effect 3 is going to be on there. I can already tell you that much. Okay, so the name is self-explanatory. We understand that. Yes, sticking the landing is always the hardest part. It really is. Oh, god damn it. Anyway, we don't want to hear me talk about Mass Effect the whole time. I got a YouTube channel to show how many Mass Effect videos I've made and how I feel about things. Okay, Demon Souls. All right, I was not expecting that. Okay, Demon Souls. Yes, it's from Software. What came before Dark Souls? The final boss of legendary Demon Souls is a Slugman. Not only a Slugman, but a Slugman with a great sword taped to his forehead. Needless to say, the ending of Demon Souls is incredibly anticlimactic and suffers from a poorly presented idea because the intent is very clear. Oh yeah, Halo 2 is going to be on here too, just you wait. Digging through the lore, you learn that the Phosphomus Slug Man is meant to be weak and unthreatening. His power is drained, and he is a shell of a former king he once was. He is a symbolic boss that is meant to impose some degree of emotion upon the player, which could have been incredibly interesting if done right. Unfortunately, the entire game builds up to the idea of descending to face the old one. You're meant to be fighting the big bad demon. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you guys, spoilers. But you are presented with a Slugman. Had your quest been to find King Aelent, then the moment of discovering the shriveled failure of the king would have been more impactful, but as it is, Slug Aelent is a sour note and an amazing game on. Yeah, I never really played Demon Souls, so yeah, I can't really go far on that. But if anybody else has played this game and understands, then by all means, share what you got. For Honor. Hahaha, good old Ubisoft. Ubisoft. For Honor hardly had one of the most engaging stories, but the ending was incredibly disappointing. No one was expecting much, but when you can't even fulfill the main premise of your own game, then something has gone desperately wrong. The whole idea behind For Honor is that Vikings, Knights, Samurais are all fighting each other. The story sets out the rather thin reasoning for the conflict, and the ending seemed to promise one big battle where the three sides clashed. However, instead of fulfilling the hook of the game, the ending played out through a poor cutscene. The only time during the entire story that you see knights, Vikings, samurai all fighting one another is in the final cutscene. And the conflict is resolved seconds later in that very same cutscene. You should have been in that fight. You should have been carving through soldier after soldier, but instead you're a cheerleader sitting on the sidelines. Woo! For Honor is one of those games too that had such a strong promise in the beginning, but then it just fizzled out, and obviously boring story doesn't help. The multiplayer is fun, but it just didn't offer enough variety in game modes and just customization options. I think that was another problem. And yeah, I don't know what skill curve you can really get out of that game because anybody can be good at it, and I really don't like that. I like a game that's really that actually does take skill. Like, I don't want a noob beating me like all the time by just trolling me and stuff. I don't know. That's how the game made me feel. It's like, you know, it was like always stressful to fight somebody. And I'm like, maybe that's genius, or maybe it's not. I don't know. But it's not like it. But if you put me on Gears of War, like I played Gears of War since day one, since its first reveal or whatever, entry against a noob, I would win every fucking time. But in this game, that's not it at all. It shows equality. Uh-oh, speaking of God of War 2. The whole point of the game is to kill Zeus, so why on earth would the final fight, the game, not result in you butchering Zeus in the most brutal and over-the-top way possible? It wasn't a nuanced ending. All that the game had to do was allowing you to impale Zeus on a mount or something as ludicrous as that. It is disappointing because the game goes nowhere. The game starts with you fighting Zeus and being defeated, and the game finishes with you fighting Zeus and being defeated. The basic fundamentals of storytelling dictate that by the end of the story, the main character should have grown in some way. It isn't the most complicated art, but God of War 2 still falls short. And then it ends with a cutscene and a cliffhanger, the Universal's worst way to end a game, which conveniently brings us into, oh, I already know this, Halo 2. Oh, Assassin's Creed. Roblox really missed the spot where they could have ended. I don't know what Roblox is. Is that the joke? Is that the joke? Sorry. Assassin's Creed. I thought it was going to be Halo 2. Halo 2 is going to be on here. Just wait. Just wait. The story of Altair ended perfectly. It was set up through the entire game and expertly capitalized with the portrayal of Al-Mulal, whatever. Sorry. Killing him ended the Crusade storyline better than anyone could have thought. However, the game then continued into Desmond's story, which for the majority of the game was a mere footnote. Oh, they did that so they could make a third game. Yes, they did. It simply showed you some scribblings on the wall and faded to black, starting the series' long tradition of bumping the modern-day storyline onto the next title, and not bothering to make too many meaningful strides with it. But there was a lot of potential. Instead of having Desmond stay flat and the same throughout the story, he could finally actually do something, use the skills he gleaned from Altair to take out Abstergo. It would have been a fitting parallel between Altair and Desmond, and it would have made the modern-day storyline somewhat interesting. Yes, a lot of people did have a problem with the modern-day, or the Desmond storyline, because he really didn't do anything. He was just whiny and pathetic, and he had some moments where he learned how to parkour and kill people. But ultimately I was hoping, I mean, they killed him off because he was a useless character, obviously. They killed him off. I understand that. And that was their own damn fault. But they could have made him have actually some revolution or some revelation to where he like gets his own like assassin suit in the present day and actually does shit. I mean, little things like that could have fixed it. All right. Oh, number 6, BioShock. They had one of the single best endings possible and absolutely ruined it. Everyone knows the twist. It is the twist that defines gaming. Beating Andrew Ryan across the head with a golf club, all the while listening to the reveal of what the story had actually been about, was perfect. A little tweaking and the game could have ended right there. But they undercut that momentous moment with hours of tedium and boring filler. The game drags on for so long, never taking any strides toward with the amazing twist they set up. The reveal was the only major development in the latter half of the game, so it made sense to cut it around there. And then the final boss is so pained by numbers that it's barely worth mentioning. That being said, it is not disastrously bad, but compared to what happens with Andrew Ryan, it doesn't hold it. It feels like an overblown formality rather than a fulfillment of the story. Oof, yes. It is very hard indeed to finish the story. You know, once you get rid of the main threat, the story should be over with those particular set of characters or whatever. Like, if you want to make a sequel to a game, just end that previous storyline and then just have it in the same universe, starting with somebody else and had the closure already established before. But unless you're designing to make it with the same character, then now you definitely gotta know when to end it. It's gotta be like Lord of the Rings, man, like the movies. You gotta know how to end it like that. That's epic crap. Epic stuff. Sorry. Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. It is a quick time boss. They turned the Dark Lord Sauron, one of the literature's most famous and threatening villains, eponymous to evil, and one of the most badass Dark Lords out there, in a quick time boss. Nothing else needs to be said, but of course I will. Alright, I won't go into further detail on that, but yes, anything that requires quick time events to beat right from the get-go is really bad. What made Resident Evil 4's end boss so good was that you had to damage him enough to actually get those quick time events to open up, to do the final blow. You couldn't just do quick time events right from the get-go for the final boss. First, Salazar? Is Salazar? I can't remember. Hood figure. But anyway, next one. Aww. Fallout New Vegas. Dang, everybody loved that game. And it was ruined by one thing. After fighting through the various factions, battling across Hoover Dam, and staking your claim for the Mojave, the game just ended. Pulling the same trick as Fallout 3. It played a slice show and recapped your adventures before finishing. Blocking the player off returning to the game. Oh, I hate that. Why do they do that? It is so stupid. So stupid. And yeah, Fallout 3 was retarded with that. I can't believe they did that shit. That was the dumbest thing they could have done. I would know. I beat it. It was so disappointing that Obsidian followed the same trend that Bethesda set and backed down on. Not being able to explore the world after the events of the Hoover Dam was a poor decision because unlike Fallout 3, this battle had a massive impact. Whoever won the battle would shape the Mojave, but we never got to see that. We never got to see anything that happens after the battle. It is made out to be one of the most important moments in the franchise, but we never get to experience that in the slightest. And these games sell so much too, and they get like Game of the Years like all the time. It's crazy. But all in all, Fallout New Vegas is still better than Fallout 3 from what I've gathered. I just don't like the Fallout games. I've beaten Fallout 3. I've beaten Fallout 4. I just don't like it. I just don't like those games. They're ugly-ass games. Oh. If you're really into like isometric, like old school RPGs, like Baldur's Gate or Pillars of Eternity, or Torment or Wasteland, I highly recommend just playing the first two Fallouts because they are exactly like that really old school complex turn-based RPG type games. You're not missing much, to be honest. If you were like me and you spent most of your days playing the Elder Scrolls series, stick with that because those are a million times better and more memorable. Yeah. Like I said, you're not missing much. Now, don't get me wrong. Fallout New Vegas, I heard many great things about it. A lot of people loved that game. They really thought it was a good game by Obsidian. And Obsidian made Pillars of Eternity, Knights of the Republic 2, and Pillars of Eternity 2, and Tyranny. And they're great games if you have KOTOR 2 mods, content mod, whatever, missing content. Still bad ending, though. But anyway, yeah, Fallout 4 had... I actually liked Fallout 4's storyline for the most part. I just didn't like the combat and the gameplay. It was just so streamlined and so naive. It was so much more of a shooter game than an RPG. It was way too simplified. I hated it. Fuck it. Anyway. Aw, Batman Arkham Knight. Spoilers for me. Ruined its great ending. The entire game built up the reveal of the Arkham Knight. It was meant to be momentous. The backing for an epic showdown was there. The game could have done so much to make the boss fight something spectacular. It should have been an accumulation of all the game's boss fights. It should have been Mr. Freeze meets Deathstroke. It was a chance for the developers to put the player against another more ruthless Batman and to be on the receiving end of the tactics that they used for years. But instead, it was a sneaky trigger the animation showdown with no challenge. And then they segregated the true ending behind hundreds of Riddler tropes. Oh, God, no. Why? It's just like Shadow of War with its horrible microtransactions. And no one enjoys the Riddler trophies. It was a disappointing end to an amazing franchise. People were annoyed that the Arkham Knight was revealed to be Jason Todd. Oh, are you serious? But the real reason the reveal was so disappointing because it came from nothing. Nothing special came. Oh my God, I can't read right now. Was so disappointing. Came from nothing special being done with it. It was very much a Scooby-Doo, just pull off the mask, gasp, and done. Mr. Jenkins, the museum creator? Zoinks. Oh, God. Oh, speaking of bad endings, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Of course. Picture the scene. You have fought through hordes of undead, flown on the back of a dragon, and battled your way in the land of the dead. The rousing score marks your descent onto the battlefield, and you are joined by companions of your fabled heroes of bygone eras to face down the World Eater. And the actual fight, well, it's the same as the last time you fought him, just with a more purple sky. I remember that. I remember that. Oh, the music for that was badass, though. It was so disappointing because the game had every reason to go all out. You have gone to the afterlife of all places. Yep. You could have had Alduin turn into a mountain-like dragon, or had him literally eating planets. But instead, it is the same fight as you fought 100 times. It was such a hollow ending. It was all spectacle and no substance. Then again, Elder Scrolls aren't known for fantastic endings. The ending of Oblivion pretty much made it explicitly clear that you weren't the main character. The final boss fight of that game was fought by an NPC of all people. Oh my god, I remember that. And at least it was Sean Bean. Yes, Sean Bean. That was... God damn it. Alright, number one, it's got to be Halo 2. No, damn it. Why would Halo 2 not be on here? God. Deus Ex Human Revolution is number one. It had spent an entire game setting up its intricate nest of morality. There were shady businessmen, corporate deceit, and corruption bleeding throughout the walls. The player was thrust into this melting pot of intricate characters and plots that were all tangled together in this delightful mystery. Basically, a human revolution had everything going for it. And instead of having the player make a meaningful decision at the end by deciding to make a bold move, they decided that it would be simpler for the player to press a button to decide their ending. Literal buttons. Like just in a line. It removed any moral choice and reduced the choices to a list of cutscenes. You didn't have to sacrifice anything or balance any moral weight. You just saved and pressed each button one after another. No real weight or gravity behind them. And you know what's funny is that your decisions that you made in this game just don't matter for mankind divided. I don't get it. I don't get it, people. Why do you have this morale system and then not have it carried over? Like, where you make decisions and it doesn't matter. Now, I understand Knights Republic 1 and 2 because it's made by different developers. I completely understand that. But they did a good job of making it to where you can choose different dialogue choices in the sequel that describe what you did in the first game. You know, you didn't have to have a save file. Like, they did a good job doing that in Knights of Republic 2. Like, that was their way of making it seem like your decisions actually fucking mattered. Because you get to decide if Revenant's male or female, or what lightsaber color he or she had, and whether he was a good Jedi or a great Jedi, or whatever. You were able to do that in that game. That was good. But you didn't do that in Mankind Divided. That's why I liked Mass Effect sequels and Dragon Age sequels, because your decisions really did play a role, and it was really good. Besides, the ending for Dragon Age 2 was way more streamlined than Dragon Age 1. But Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, now, don't discredit the ending for Mass Effect 3, of course. Wait a minute, hold on. How is that not on here? This guy's got a mind of his own. Now, I loved Mass Effect 3, I really did. I thought it was good that they did that extended cut. Don't get me wrong, like I said, I have plenty of videos that talk about this on my YouTube channel, but still, when it first came out, it was so bad. It was so bad that it was just on everybody's radar. Oh my god, how is that not on? How is that and Halo 2 not on here? It's crazy. It's so crazy. But anyway, that has been an hour of Nico news, the Nico show. And I hope you guys did enjoy. We talked about a lot of fun stuff. I appreciate Pumpkin Man joining in on this chat. I appreciate it. Good sir. And I hope you check me out on the Twitch channel. Obviously, the links are below. Obviously, it's twitch.com/NikoLegend. I play lots of games. I stream this on 2 platforms, YouTube and Twitch. On my days off, there's no really set schedule, but I do make updates on it on when I do it, when I do post things about the show. Yeah, it's really fun to do. I love doing this. It's so fun. Even if I don't get an Irons, it's still got it in the archive. You can still see it, right? But anyway, this has been a ton of fun. I'm glad to do this. I have been your host, NikoTheLegend. And if you did like what you saw, like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Any help is appreciated. But nonetheless, thanks everybody for stopping by. What time is it? It's 12:07 here. Originally I was gonna stream Dark Souls Remastered, but I think I'll do that tomorrow before work, considering that the gym's closed. And besides doing some homework and a little bit of writing, I really got nothing else. I'm not working out. Gym's closed on Memorial Day. But anyway, folks, I have been your Pathfinder, NikoTheLegend. also known as One Manner Teenager, and the Snowflake, not by choice, of course, by great genetics. I hope you have a good night, and cheers with my Mega Man mug. And Pumpkin Man, cheers to you, mate, for joining me on this journey of talking about really fun jokes. I hope to see you again soon, my friend. Take care. Stay strong.